Hello and welcome back. Michael here from Hunt for Habit, and today I want to talk to you about some of the things I thought about whilst I was traveling around Latin America. So I'm very lucky to have just spent 2 months gallivanting around Central America. I went from Mexico to Belize to Guatemala to El Salvador to Nicaragua and then all the way back to Mexico. I had such an amazing time. I was jetting around hostels, I was moving through cities, I was meeting some incredible people and eating some insane street food. With the help of huge step counts, walking around new cities, exploring new places, hiking up volcanoes with crazy elevation gains, and also checking out a new gym at every location, I didn't just stay in shape. I stayed in alignment with the person that I want to be. It wasn't about restriction. It wasn't about holding back. It was about integrity. Now let's break down exactly how I stay consistent in the most inconsistent environment. First, let's talk about mindset. And I think what helped me the most was remembering that I don't just work out or eat the way I do just to look a certain way. I do it because it grounds me. It gives me structure. And when I'm at home, now here, away from holidays and vacations and traveling, I work self-employed. I work as a freelancer and I travel a lot for my work anyway. So what the gym and routine does for me, it gives me that structure in amongst what some could say was or is a very hectic and chaotic work schedule. So much like my work life and more recently my 2-month period traveling, in a place where every day is different and everything around you is changing, keeping the gym constant and keeping your nutrition constant and your mindset constant keeps you feeling grounded. The gym and nutrition, while I was away, was also one of my absolute non-negotiables that I set myself before I got on the plane. That is one of the most important things. I sat myself down, I had a conversation with myself, set the non-negotiables, and made them happen. If I had to tweak things, I made it happen. If I had to work out for a shorter period of time, I made it happen. If I had to walk further to get to a gym, I made it happen. If I had to get up earlier in order to train before a hike or before an activity, I made it happen. It was my non-negotiable and I wasn't going to let that go. As I'm talking about the gym now, let's dive into my approach to training whilst I was traveling. And in essence, I made it fun. I chose my hostels depending on their proximity to a gym. And you might think, that's a bit restrictive and that's a bit strange, but more often than not, a gym and a hostel, they're going to be relatively central. And one of the best things about choosing a hostel that was close to a gym meant that I was reducing the friction to the habit I wanted to keep. That's another absolute gem from Atomic Habits, written by James Clear. If you've not read it yet, go and read it. It's so important. The pre-planning and preparation, booking hostels that were close to gyms, made it absolutely effortless for me to keep the behavior that I wanted to maintain whilst I was traveling. I kept that non-negotiable because I made it so easy to do so. I kept my training simple, I kept it intense, and I changed absolutely nothing about the way I trained from how I train at home. This meant that I didn't have to think. Not one session was drawn out, elongated, confusing. They were just effective. Simple, intense, effective. In, out. I wasn't traveling to see the inside of every gym around Central America. I was training so I could enjoy traveling and not feeling like I had to sacrifice a key part of my identity to see the world. I've already mentioned that some days I had to get up earlier in order to train, and one time it almost got me bitten by a dog in Guatemala. That was a very, very scary experience, 4:30 in the morning. If you want to hear more about that story, drop me a comment, a like, and subscribe to the channel so you can see future videos in that. And please request because I will tell you that story. I ran through cities to get some decent cardio in and also to sightsee. Now let's talk about the food. The food in Central America is absolutely insane. You've got tacos and tortas in Mexico. You've got pupusas in El Salvador. You've got gallo pinto just about everywhere. It's incredible. So there's no way in hell my approach to nutrition while I was traveling was going to be one of restriction. It was all about awareness. It was about balance and awareness. I wasn't tracking calories. I was keeping myself in check. This one's really important. Just because you're abroad, you're in a different surrounding, trying, sampling, eating new foods, really delicious foods, isn't a reason to say fuck it and start binging. What does this do? It leads to you feeling hatred for yourself, feeling regret, feeling sorry for yourself, and ultimately takes you out of being present. Because what happens? If you end up overeating, all you're thinking about is how you've overeaten. And you might be thinking about how you're not going to eat the next day, you're going to starve yourself the next day to compensate for the amount that you've eaten. Stop doing that. It is destructive. And I'm not saying that I'm immune to that. I've done that before. I've got into the cycle of using my new surroundings, using holidays as an excuse to binge and say, fuck it, it's fine. I'm on holiday. I need to enjoy myself. I've had a hard couple of months of work. I need to binge and enjoy myself. But you see how that is just the wrong mentality to have? Because without a doubt, and you know this, if you're somebody who struggles with an eating disorder, who struggles with binge eating like I used to do, you know what it's like. You'll restrict, you'll binge, you'll feel sorry for yourself. All of that self-sabotage will end in you not being in the present moment. You won't be in the room. And now you're left not being able to appreciate anything around you. Imagine that. Imagine being surrounded by beautiful people, beautiful places, beautiful food, and not being able to appreciate it because you've stuffed your face and now you're feeling like crap. So this is why awareness is so crucial. You need to be aware of what's in front of you. You need to be aware of your mindset. If you have the urge to binge, take yourself out, zoom out, see the bigger picture. Think about why you feel the need to binge. Try the food. Be gentle with yourself, be kind to yourself, but be aware. And I didn't always eat out. The hostels that I stayed at had kitchens as well. So I based all of my meals, whether I ate out or whether I ate at the hostel, around protein. Eggs, chicken, tuna and sweet corn, cheese, protein powder, these dodgy protein powder bags that I got from the gyms. It's surprisingly hard to find protein around Central America. In supermarkets, I could not find it anywhere. So I had to buy these really dodgy bags full of protein, just one scoop of protein, and then funnel them into my drink. I'll just put the video up here so you can see. Every day. One thing that isn't hard to find in Central America is carbohydrates. They love their tortillas and they love their rice. So what did I do? I made it balanced. I didn't overdo it. Let's quickly talk about sleep and supplements. So my sleep, I actually had some of the best sleeps I've ever had in my life at the hostels. And some people might say that's not true, I'm lying. Trust me, I was so knackered, all the activities, all the walking, as soon as my head hit the pillow, I was out most nights. I also purposefully and strategically avoided staying at party hostels because this would just encourage me to stay up all night, and that's not good. So if I wanted to attend an event at a party hostel, I did, but I made sure for sleeping, I booked a hostel that was less crazy. The sheer amount of activity, training, and steps, walk, just the movement I was doing during a day, I needed my sleep. Again, another non-negotiable, I needed to sleep very well. In terms of supplements, I came prepared from England. I took multivitamin tablets, I took creatine, and I took electrolytes. Electrolytes was absolutely essential because of the heat over there, because of the movement, the activities, you're sweating a lot. So I was drinking a lot of electrolytes. All of these things I'm talking about, my gym routine, my nutrition approach, my supplement taking, none of this interfered with the social aspect of my traveling. In fact, you'd be surprised how many people in the hostels want to go to the gym. So I found going to the gym at some points very social. I met some great people. I trained with some really, really great people who I now consider good friends. Social life didn't suffer. I made it fit. Now, it might seem like this whole trip was a mental and physical test for me. It wasn't. It was a mental reset. It was me allowing me to be authentically myself. Be the person I want to be. There were setbacks. There were injuries. I injured my IT band. I injured my shoulder. Two things that really set me back. I had to stop running. And that really, really set me back. I'm going to do another video on injuries. So like, comment, share, subscribe. And I'll get to that. I'm not perfect. I can tell you this right now, I am not perfect. But I try every single day to align with my values. And 80% of the time, I'm there. So if for 20% of the time, I can let myself go, for 20% of the time, I can give myself that leeway, then I'm going to do that. I'm not perfect. Please don't look at me in this scenario, in this situation, and think that I'm perfect. I don't have it all figured out. I've just done the rounds of feeling shit. I've done the rounds of binging. I've done the rounds of not feeling like myself. So I'm offering what I can now from my experience, from my knowledge, to hopefully give you some help. You don't need to be the fittest person in the room. You just need to show up. And keep showing up. Okay, let's wrap this up. If you're planning on going traveling and you're worried about falling off track, don't. Don't aim for perfection. Stay aware. and make decisions that your future self will thank you for. And don't fall for the idea that you're going to have to sacrifice everything to go to the gym. Don't fall for the idea that you have to sacrifice everything to keep your nutrition on track. I did it. I just proved it. I didn't skip out on social life. I didn't skip out on fun. I didn't skip out on experiences. I did it all. I stayed in shape. I stayed active. I stayed social. And I had the best time of my life. Why? Because I made it work. It can work. It's doable. The gym, the nutrition, the discipline, all slotted in like a hand to a glove. Not because I forced it that way, but because I prepared for it to be that way. I made it so easy for myself. I packed the supplements. I packed the backup gear. I researched the gyms. I made a system so powerful that the only outcome was for me to stick to it. James Clear once again, we don't rise to the level of our goals, we fall to the level of our systems. Just having a goal in mind does absolutely nothing. It's all in the system. That's it for today, guys. Thank you for watching. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I could talk a lot more about this subject, about my travels. If you do want to see a part 2 to this, let me know in the comments. Subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.